So today we will start Angular JS. What is okay?
Yeah.
And just we'll start with theoretically what is Angular JS, why we need it, something like that, and maybe we'll see tomorrow some
Okay.
sample application, one sample
Yeah.
program. Just theoretically, we'll try to understand what is Angular JS, why we need it, and what is existing, what is the benefit of this one.
Okay. Yeah.
So before learning anything, right, so we need to understand why we need it. So what is existing thing and what is the benefit of the Angular JS?
Okay.
Okay. Let me open some paint. And so Angular JS will follow Angular JS. Basically, it's a kind of UI framework. Okay,
Yep.
so UI framework, and basically UI framework means it's kind of JavaScript framework.
Okay.
Okay, and it will be used to develop the UI basically. It will be used only to develop UI. So okay,
User interface. Yeah.
yes, user interface, correct, exactly. So user interface, yes. Okay, and here we are using plain JavaScript.
Okay.
Okay, plain JavaScript, and it was developed by I think we have discussed it, right, when we are discussing HTML and JavaScript, correct?
Actually, I forgot.
Okay, at that time we had discussed some basic JavaScript, right? Like how
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
read an
Just
element.
this is
So
JavaScript.
basic one, right? So how to read a text box, correct? And how to validate it,
Yeah.
and how to find out the length of a data of text field, something like that. We had saw some basic thing, right? Basic
Yeah.
JavaScript work. So now here also we are going to use in JavaScript only. But now what happened, so by using the basic JavaScript, this Google people, okay, Google people, they developed one framework.
Okay.
Okay, so they used some basic JavaScript and they developed one framework. Okay, and finally they created one JavaScript file basically. So we need to download the basic JavaScript file. So basically they developed one .js file.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we have to do, so we have to .js means it is framework. It is a framework developed by Google people. So we have to use this framework
Yeah.
in our HTML page. Okay, so they provided so many methods and so many libraries.
Yeah.
So you can use their libraries or their methods in your HTML page,
Right.
so that you no need to write so much code. They have written. So let's suppose, say for instance, there is a function called ABC. Okay, so just use this ABC, and if you see the implementation, maybe some 100 lines is there.
Okay.
So that 100 lines will be there. This 100 lines will be there in the bundle name, whatever file JS JavaScript library they provided. So use that library and just use the ABC directly. So the implementation you can ignore it. So it's
Yeah.
kind of Spring, right? Spring is a framework, correct?
Right.
There we are using the IOC, AOP, MVC models, right?
Yeah.
So there is so many classes is available. That classes you are getting from the Spring libraries, correct?
Right.
The similar way here we have a library, JavaScript library. JavaScript, one of the files. So we need to import that file into your HTML page. Okay, we need to import that HTML JavaScript file into your HTML page, and you can call the methods. So anyway, when we are saying in some example, that time you will get more clarity. Just now, just try to understand. Theoretically, what is this framework, what it will do, and all. Okay.
Yeah.
And another important point is this JavaScript framework will follow the MVC pattern.
So this MVC from Spring MVC or
So MEC is a kind of pattern. So that
okay,
it's a pattern. It's kind of a pattern. So they will. You can able to apply this MEC pattern in any. I mean everywhere. Not only UI side. You can apply from server side also. So basically, we're trying to segregate layers. Model view controller.
yeah,
Just segregate layers so that what is the benefit is. So if in I mean, at certain point if you want to modify the UI, then you can go to the view page, view layer, then you can modify it, correct. So I will tell you how it will follow the model view controller pattern. Basically this framework will follow the model view controller pattern, so I will tell you how it will follow. This is one point, and the second point is, so it will follow two-way binding. I will tell you what is that two-way binding. Okay, so what is this two-way binding? That also I will tell you. First we will see the MVC pattern. MVC pattern of this Angular JS framework.
okay,
MVC pattern means view means UI, right?
yeah,
View means UI. Basically HTML page, correct?
yeah.
Controller means what it will do. I mean, it will try to interact with some database and it will try to get some data, correct? This is called controller.
Yeah.
It will process the request and it will create some data or view something, correct?
Yeah.
So this is called controller.
Right.
In this case, controller means JavaScript. Here we are not writing any .java files. But whereas in case of Spring, controller means .java file, correct?
Yeah.
But whereas in this case, I mean controller means it's one JavaScript file. In one
Yeah.
JavaScript file, one method you can say. So that you can say as a controller. What that JavaScript file or method will do, that will process the request and it will create some data, response data.
Okay.
So that response data you can say as a model.
Okay.
Okay, from the view from HTML page, you are going to provide one link or button or something, correct?
Yeah.
So on click of that one, what it will do, it will go to the controller, correct?
Yeah.
So what controller will do, it will process the request. So what data you are trying to give from the UI, it will try to read the data from the view. It will read the data, controller will read the data and it will process the request. Okay, then it will prepare the model.
Yeah.
So what we are going to display to the UI, so that we are going to send to UI back. Okay, so here model also, it is here in this case model means we are going to consider as a JSON, JavaScript object notation. So here .js file.
So JSON is actually the JavaScript notation. Is another something writing file something.
So JavaScript means it's a, so a model means, what is a model means, to carry the data we need to create some poser class, correct, like person or
Right.
user. So that is the model in our, I mean, as per our previous example, correct.
Right.
So we're creating a person object, person class. Inside that we are adding first name, last name, email, all those things, correct.
Yeah.
So first name, last name, email we are creating and we are adding setter getter. After that we are setting the field values, correct.
Right.
So that we used to call it as a model. So when you come back to the, I mean this Angular JS model means, so it is kind of a JavaScript object notation. What is that notation will follow, right? So let me give the JSON example. So one of the sample model I'm telling you, f name colon value here, f name. So this is one of the sample JSON view. Sorry, not model. So if name is constant and the value will change, right, every time.
Right.
So this one you are going to keep in your JavaScript. So basically this is a model.
Okay.
So you are going to return this entire object to the UI. So how we are going to return that we will see later. So this is one of the sample for model. So this is a JavaScript object notation. It is kind of, it is not a Java object, it's a JavaScript object.
Yeah.
So for Java object, you know, right, like a user u equal to new user and u dot set first name, u dot last name, correct. So that is Java object, correct.
Right.
But in this case, we are following everything is JavaScript here. Here there is no dot class files at all. Everything is JavaScript. So inside JavaScript, you have to write controller, and inside JavaScript, you have to write JSON object.
Yeah.
So this is one of the simple or a sample example for JSON, JavaScript object notation.
Okay.
So this is your fields, and this is your values, and this is your object.
Yeah.
So this one we used to call as a JavaScript object notation. So we are following this notation, and we are trying to prepare the model. So where you will prepare this object means inside your controller we have to prepare this JSON.
Yeah.
So inside your controller you have to process the request, and what data you need to give back to the view, to the HTML page to display something to the user. We have to prepare this kind of structure. So display first name like this, a location display like this, and these values we are going to display in the UI side. So how we are handling, how we are reading the JSON and all, we will see that later.
Okay.
First we are trying to understand, I mean, what pattern we will follow, what are the layers is there, I mean, what are the files we are going to use, something like that. Okay.
Right.
And if you see the fourth point, right, I told you the basic framework or libraries we need to download from the AngularJS website. That, let me open that one. So if you see here, right, angularjs.org, it's a open source framework. So you can just keep this URL with you. So here if you see that there is AngularJS 1 and AngularJS 2, there is two versions is there.
Yeah.
So and it was developed by Google people. You can see there by Google.
Okay. So
So
is it from Google?
yes, this framework was developed by Google people, and it's very, I mean, what is in a market, it's in people, it's in a demand basically.
Okay.
So what you have to do, first we need to download their libraries, correct?
Yeah.
So to download this their libraries, you can download the, recently they released this one. That
Oh.
also we'll see. First we will try to understand the basic one, then we will go for advanced one, correct?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so how to download it, just click this one, and you see here, right, when we are trying to download, right, you have two options. See, uncompressed and modified.
Yeah.
Okay, uncompressed and modified and versions, stable version. So this is the stable version, and this one maybe they are trying to modify something like that. So you can
Okay.
try to download stable one, and you see there is a two versions, uncompressed and modified. So what is this means? Uncompressed means you, so if you open the file, right, so if you open the, so first let download the uncompressed. and we will see that later. The difference we will see it later. So just try to download it. So you can download any one, it will work, no issue. I will tell you the difference. What is the difference between uncompressed and modified? So if you download it, right, you will get this JS file.
Yeah.
So just once, this is your library. This is the only one library you are going to use it. You no need to download any other libraries. So this is the only one library will provided by Google people. And what you have to do with this JS file, so you have to import this JS file into your HTML page or JS page, wherever.
Yeah.
So this is the only one library you are going to use for entire sessions. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and now come back to the uncompressed version and compressed version. So what is the difference? If you open your JS file, right? So generally you will see the some methods, variables, functions, all those things, correct?
Yeah.
So compressed means what they will do. Let me write some. So here, then if you open your JavaScript file, you will see like this function ABC. So here they will declare where one equal to something like that, correct? They will we used to write a JavaScript function like that, correct?
Yeah.
So this is non-compressed version, basically modified version.
Yeah.
So if you see the compressed version, how it look like, they will use some other framework or tools. The code is look like this. It's kind of data.
Okay.
Maybe you are not able to understand this one. It's kind of data. It's like after that again they will start one more function where some ty, this is a function. They will write code like this.
Okay. Got
So
it.
this is called compressed version, maybe modified version. Uncompressed version means so that the code is well defined format. So what is the advantage means here you can save the space, correct?
Yeah.
So it will take less space. The previous one it will take more space or more lines.
Right.
So that is the basic the difference between the compressed and modified version.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can download anyone and and so this uncompressed version, right, it will give, when if there is some exception came, it will give more information.
Right.
So that is also another example. So you can download anyone and you can import so that into your HTML page. So how we are going to import and all that we will see later. Okay, so this is the basic file we have to download from the Google AngularJS.org website.
Right.
Okay, and if you want to see some examples and all, right, so here you can able to get so many examples. See their videos, free course, tutorials, case studies, FAQs, see app project templates. So here you will get so many examples
Yeah.
just for you, for practice purpose. Here you will get so many examples. So just you have to register, then you can able to see. They will give entire code to you, so you can do whatever you want with your code. So they will give
Right.
entire code, and you can play with that. But because this is a open source, right?
Yeah.
So they will give entire code, and you can use the code, and you can modify it, and so that you will get more idea.
Right.
Okay, now go back to our now where we were here, model view controller, correct? So this one you got some idea, right? What is model view controller?
Right.
Okay, and now the second point is I told you, right, two-way binding. So what is this two-way binding? So basically this Angular JS will follow another rule called two-way binding. So what is this two-way binding? Say for instance, you logged in into an application, okay,
Yeah.
and you logged in into one application, and and you opened one page, update customer page.
Okay.
Update customer.html. Okay, so here this is one page you opened, and another page is view customer page.
Okay.
View customer.html. Basically, you opened currently two pages. One is update customer window and a view customer window.
Right.
Correct? Two windows you opened, and in two places, just assume we are going to display same data. Or one
Okay.
field, consider date of birth. So in two fields, in two windows, the common field is date of birth. In one application, you open two windows. One is update customer window, and another is view customer window.
Okay.
Okay, these two windows are belongs to one customer.
Yeah.
Say for instance, as part of update window, you modified date of birth of the customer.
Okay.
So you modified maybe 01 10 1980. The
Okay.
old one is 02 slash 01 slash 1980. So this is old value.
Yeah.
So just you updated as per the customer request, you updated the date of birth.
Yeah.
So in update customer window, you modify date of birth like this, and in another window you have already opened, right? So here we should not display the old value, correct?
Yeah.
It
Sure.
should update to, it should point to new value, correct?
Right.
So it should point to new value. So it will point to new value. So how it will point? So basically, whenever you are modifying the date of birth, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it will. So whenever you are modifying date of birth, so if it will create some JSON notation, correct? JSON object. So JSON object and date of birth it will add as a 01 slash 10 slash 1980. So this is your JSON. This is your model. So model will be filled with new value, correct?
Yeah.
So whenever you are updating the model with new value or any value, so wherever you are referring this field in any number of windows, so this object, this field will be reflected with the new values.
Yeah.
So in this page and in this page, you are referring same model.
Right.
So whenever you are at any particular point, if you are updating the model, immediately it will reflect all the pages, all the places with new value.
Right.
So all the windows having same value now, correct?
Right.
So this is what we used to call as a two-way binding. Whether you are modifying in one place or it will reflect in all other places.
Right.
Why? Because you are modifying the model directly. So whenever you are modifying the model, it will impact all the places wherever you are referring the model.
Right.
So this is one of the another advantage of this AngularJS, a two-way binding.
Ah,
Two-way binding and Mvc pattern, and it is a very lightweight. So if you see the JavaScript size, right? So what is the size of the JavaScript library? 1.13 MB.
oh, yeah. Very, very lightweight.
Very lightweight, yes. It is, there is no need to download so many files. It's lightweight, and the size also it's very lightweight. Files are very less basically.
Yeah.
So this is one of the another advantage, and also it's a open source. It's open source basically. You don't need to buy the license. It's open source. Anyone can able to download this file and they can start using this one. And so these are the basic advantages of AngularJS. You got some rough idea, right?
Yeah. So basically,
Yeah.
why people's using the Angular J mainly? what are the main function that's make this more important?
Mm-hmm. And another, advantage I will tell you later. We will discuss. So by using this framework, by using this JavaScript framework, you can able to call web services directly from the UI itself.
Okay.
Let's suppose right now, just assume after this AngularJS, we are going to discuss about web services, correct?
Yeah.
So what web services will do, if you call web services, you give some inputs and it will give some response as a data.
Right.
So by using this framework, you can able to call when the services or web services directly. So like by using, when we are discussing about the basic JavaScript, we also discussed about what is that, to call services Ajax.
Ajax, yes.
Ajax we discussed, right? So what is the purpose of Ajax? And to call a particular service like a country, state, dependence drop down, we are giving
Right.
some input and we are getting the corresponding response, correct?
Right.
So if you see your Ajax code, so there is a number of lines, maybe some 10 lines. You are using 10 lines to call a service by using Ajax. So basically Ajax, you have to write 10 lines, minimum 10 lines to call a service.
Hmm.
Ajax means it's a kind of basic JavaScript framework.
Yes.
Okay, but whereas in this case, just only some 3 lines, just 3 lines, you can able to call a service. So by using just 3 lines of code, you can able to call the web services. And here you, in case of Ajax, right, we are checking IE, Firefox, Chrome, or what browser you are using. So it's a basically browser dependent. This
Yes.
Ajax code, JavaScript code. But whereas this one here, only 3 lines, you no need to check whether you are using IE or Firefox or Chrome or whatever. It doesn't matter. Just three
Hmm.
lines. By using just 3 lines of JavaScript code, you can able to call a service. That we will see later. This is one of the advantage I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You were asking some question.
No, no.
Now, so these are the basic advantages of this AngularJS framework, and this is also it's very more demand in market. This JavaScript framework nowadays, if you go for UI frameworks, right?
Yeah.
It's very demand. Why? Because why UI frameworks are demand means nowadays all the websites that people want to access from the mobile, correct?
Yes.
So mobile means if you see one website, if you see any website, right? They have so many tabs, so much of data they're trying to display, correct? But the
Right.
same website, if you're trying to access from the mobile, right, you are not able to display all the data in small window, correct?
Right.
So we need to display minimal features.
Right.
So if you use this kind of latest framework, so whatever website you are going to construct, so that should compatibility with mobile plus your desktop, like Android OS and Windows OS or
Right.
Mac, correct? So how it compatible? So that compatibility is very important, right? So
Yeah.
nowadays, if you use these kind of frameworks, so that you will not get any compatibility issues. That is one
Right.
advantage. And if the screen is smaller, so it will adjust itself automatically.
Right.
So that is another advantage. Compatibility is like operating system independent, and it will try to adjust itself based on the screen width.
Right.
So that is another advantage. That's what nowadays these UI frameworks will become very popular rather than the server. Java code. If you
Yeah.
developed one website, but if you are not able to view from the Android system, means then that is a waste, right? Nowadays, most of the people will use from the tablet or mobile, correct?
Right.
So that's what nowadays people are more concentrating, worried about this UI layers. Okay, when you have any questions, we discussed only about a theory kind of
Yeah.
thing.
No, I don't have questions.
If you have any questions, so tomorrow what we will see, we will write some simple or sample application.
Okay.
Okay, so to
Yeah.
write simple sample application, basically we need to develop one sample web application, web application with one HTML page, one HTML plus one JavaScript file. One HTML, one JavaScript file. That's all. Here there is no Java files. There is no so many files. Simple one HTML page and one JavaScript file. And we need to deploy this web application into Tomcat.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is
Okay.
what we need it. So tomorrow, I need to go out for today. And tomorrow, what we will see, we will try to develop one simple application just to display something, hello, something, and we'll see so many examples one by one. Slowly, we will increase the in depth. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So I will send this video and just have a look. And if you have any questions, then we will discuss tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Fine. Yeah. Thanks.